is Amy, and this is, I'm not really, and my son is video bombing me. And I am Amy Memers from Hudson Valley Knits, and I am up at my mom's house right now for the turkey weekend. So I hope all of you had a great Thanksgiving if you're in the United States, and I know I did. It's Sunday now, and it's hard to believe I gotta go to work tomorrow, but life goes on, right? So I apologize for the noise. Like I said, I'm at my mom's, and there's going to be background noise because everybody's fixing lunch and stuff. But you know, for the most part, it shouldn't be too bad. I have a couple of finished objects to show you, and I have some new work in progress. And I had a little review I wanted to do for you. Stories and Stitches by Donna and Ava Coleman. So let's get on with it. So, like I said, we had a really great Thanksgiving. Thursday we had dinner at my mother-in-law's, me and the kids and my husband. My husband is a chef, and he cooked all the food at his job, so there was no big mess. And it was just really nice. And then Friday morning, me and the kids came up to my mom's house, and we've been here ever since. My mom cooked a wonderful, I shouldn't say my mom, because my cousin and my stepbrother and my sister, they all were up, and they helped cook too, but we had fresh ham and sauerkraut and mashed potatoes, and we just had another wonderful family feast, which was great. Hi, Joe. I'm recording.
All right.
Thanks. Sorry. Anyway, so we've been up here all weekend. They're helping the grandparents out a little bit, and yeah. So before I went home, I wanted to record up here because, well, mostly because it's beautiful up here. And the light is beautiful, and I don't have all these beautiful windows in my house. So let me get started. So I have work in progress, finished objects, a little stash acquisition, a new in the queue, and that review. So, just a quick reminder about my holiday knit along. I have up in my Ravelry group, I am doing a gift along, knit along. So if you are making a gift for someone, or I've made a gift for someone for Hanukkah, which has already started, please post a picture in the finished objects group. You just have to be a member of the group to join, and I'll be drawing a prize for that in January, and it's a nice skein of Dragonfly Fibers Traveler in the Starry Night colorway. So definitely come and check that out if you're knitting gifts for someone. Works in progress. So I'm still working on the herbaceous socks for the Dynamic Duo Knit Along, but I have made some progress finally. So now that the brother-in-law hat is done, which is done, but I can't show you because he's got it and he's wearing it. Here's the socks. So we've turned the heel, and we're starting on the foot. These started off with the intention of being for my friend, but they're way too small for her ankle. So I brought them up, and my mother tried them on. It's a little tight, but they fit comfortably on her right foot more so than her left. And so I'll just make the other foot a little bigger, and these will be for my mother, who's standing right here.
I can't wait for the big thing.
And she knows they're coming probably for her birthday in January, so herbaceous socks.
But they'll keep you warm in January.
They'll keep her warm up here in the frozen tundra. Right. Next on the needles, I have this Cambio Cowl by Laura Nelkin. I love it. It's really fun. I bought the kit when she came to our Knitting Guild meeting, and it's a beautiful, colorful cowl. And it would have been, might be for my sister Kim, I don't know. I didn't pull her name for Christmas, so that might be my lucky break. Might end up being for me. So anyway, It's a great pattern. It's a lovely kit it comes with everything you need except the needles, of course. Here's the beautiful yarn I showed you last week. And so that is the Cambio cow. I also started one of the other kits I bought when she was visiting. And this is the Ribio. It's gorgeous. Doesn't it look like a diamond necklace? Isn't that beautiful? I love the way it looks in the light. It's beautiful. So that is coming along really quick. I actually just started it yesterday, and I would say I'm about halfway through. So next, let me show you some of my finished objects. This is the snowcap hat by Rosemary Hill, or Romney Hill. She's one of my favorite designers, and she's doing this. It's another ebook where it's designed specifically geared towards like one or two skeins that might be in your stash. So this is the snowcap hat. And my sister has big hair, and she tried it on. It was actually didn't come down far enough because of how thick her hair is. So my mom is going to get this hat because I love her and because it's freezing up here. But I really love the alpaca fiber. It came out really nice. I have enough left that I could probably make a pair of fingerless mitts with it. I had a lot of yarn left. The label said it was 3.5 ounces, but it was more like 6 ounces of fiber in this skein. So I got really lucky with that. So great pattern. I highly recommend that you get this ebook. It was super quick too. I knit it up in probably 3 or 4 days. So very quick knit. And that and the hunter's hat I made for my brother-in-law are all the finished objects I have. But I'd like to cap it off with a review. I got the Stories in Stitches book. I got the first book, which I can show you right here. Stories in Stitches. This is the first one they came out with. It's a very high quality publication. There's lovely photos in it. There's one of the authors, Ava Coleman. And there's a lot of work that goes in, a lot of love. It's like definitely a labor of love. Like you can see, the photography is beautiful. There's great patterns. It's geared towards historical knitting, which I love myself, and it seems to be geared towards ethnic knitting. And this current issue, which is the one I'm going to be reviewing, is much about lace. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I do have a couple of really quick stash enhancements. I got these at Joann's Fabrics. I stopped by to get the pom-pom maker, and I got some Patons Croy socks in a couple of different colors. They were having a 50% off sale, so I got these for practically nothing, like $5 for a pair of socks, which you can't beat. So here's the different colors I got, and I'll give it a try. Everybody that tries it says they like it. I like this colorway especially, and here's the other one. So great for some vanilla socks. Give as gifts. All right. So that being said, let's go into the review. So I just have the electronic version. If you pre-ordered it and bought the book, which should be coming out in the mail soon, you also got an electronic version. And I've read almost the entire thing, and I was really impressed by the amount of work that went into it, not just in the quality of the publication, but in the reverence that went into the research and the storytelling in this book. It starts out with Donna Drukanis, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She published a pie shawl pattern in this, and the lovely part that I wanted to share is it's not just that she's giving you her pattern. She has also given you her concept of what really, the reasons behind why you would make this type of pattern. And she calls it her recipe. And I was really moved by this. And I wanted to share a couple of things that she wrote. If you just give me a second. So here, let me show you the picture. It's called Full Circle. And it's quite large and quite beautiful. You can make it as large as you want it. And she goes into her recipe, and one of the things she starts out with, she says, it takes a whole lifetime to turn into yourself. Time moves in cycles, I think, and not a straight line. Mornings and evenings, summers and winters, war and peace, years, lifetimes, and millennia all swirl in an unending cycle of decay and renewal. Somehow these circles of time are related to the phases of my life. The lace circle motifs designed by Dorothy Reed and the shape and growth of a pie shawl. And then she goes on to her recipe, and she says materials: a cup of coffee or tea, a comfortable chair, a period of time, and she goes on. It's beautiful, and I don't want to give too much of it away, but in the section for maiden, she goes, increase round, make some friends, live a few years, and increase round, go to school. So in other words, the increase rounds are things you do to enrich your life and help you grow to the next level. And that can be acquiring friends, going to school, reading things, learning how to do new things, and just exploring who you are as a person. And then she goes on to the mother phase, and gosh, I remember that phase so much in my life when I was a mother, and it's all about your kids, and that's your first priority, your first responsibility. And you know, you kind of put yourself on the back burner for a long time. And Donna wrote in her in here, it seems as though, for women at least, we are most ourselves at the beginnings and endings of our life. And for me, this is very true. And I'm just kind of, my kids are 20 and 27, so I'm just kind of entering another freedom phase of my life. As maidens and as crones. In the middle, in our mother phase, we are what we need to be for others, whether those others include our spouse, our children, our co-workers, society as a whole, or most likely a mix of most or all of these. And that's been so true for me. I highlighted, you could see I've highlighted so much because there's so much that Donna wrote in this one particular article that was so profound for me. Her reason for loving knitting, and I hope it's okay that I share this. That is one reason I love knitting and other crafts so much. If we can continue making things throughout our lives, we can keep play in our lives even if we deceive ourselves into thinking we are doing something productive. Will the next generation of young knitters keep their creative hearts open through the middle of their lives? I don't know. And then she says this, and this was so true for me. She said, in my classes, I hear the same story repeatedly from the knitters who are close to my age and older. And this is my story. I learned how to knit from my grandma when I was a little girl. Then I stopped knitting when I was a teenager and didn't come back to it again until my kids were grown and I retired. But why do we forget the beauty of play for all those years? And Donna says, I don't think we have to. And I wish I had read this years ago, although I probably wouldn't listen. And then here is a wonderful page of Donna with all her childhood friends and their reunion, which I do with a couple of my bestest friends from childhood. And here is a picture of Dorothy Reed, whom she used the charts for her pie shawl. So in the end, she writes, in finishing, If you have a dream, don't wait to fulfill it. Why wait until you're an old woman or an old man? Work on your dream now as much as you can, one day at a time, one letter at a time, one stitch at a time. Keep in touch with your friends and loved ones. Shamelessly pay attention to whatever interests you. Even if, by the luck of the draw, your life is cut short, you won't leave this world with unfinished business or regrets. Yet if by providence you live to be old, you will already be living your dream. And that is the most beautiful advice. I hope my kids watch this because I want them to hear it. So that is the first section, which is kind of centered around Dorothy Reed, who was also, she goes into a lot about how Dorothy was a pioneer for changing over from written knitted instructions to what she called knitting shorthand. And she created her own type of charts, which kind of were she was the pioneer of charted knitting patterns. And Donna has provided some of her charts and translated those into a more modern chart, which you can use to create this pie shawl or create your own. So I really love that particular section of this book. It was such an amazing read, and I can't wait to get the physical book and I'll read it all over again. There was also an article following this about the math of the pie shawl, which you can also get from Elizabeth Zimmerman's books, but Donna goes over it again in a one-page article about how the pie, to use the pie to calculate your diameter and to translate that into the number of stitches and how frequently you have to increase row-wise, which was very helpful. There's also another article which I really loved, and it was about the reading your map. What was the title? She says that maps are can be either globes or they could be flat, and each one has their benefits, and that's so true. And she gives J.C. Breyer stitch maps, which are kind of, if you haven't seen them yet, which you should definitely Google that. Actually, there's an example of one in the book. Let me get to it. Hold on. Oh, and here's another one of the lovely patterns included in the book. It's a cardigan with one of Dorothy Reed's diamond patterns, using her diamond pattern. Let me get to that article about the... so the one about the pie shawl math is called Yes, There Is Math in Knitting. And then the next one is by Donna, and it's called Follow the Map, Knitting Charts. And it talks about how to read your knitting, how to map out a chart to kind of understand it better. She compares some of Dorothy's original charts and how they're translated. And then she also kind of uses J.C. Breyer's charts as an example of the next stage in chart evolution, if you will, and that how she sees the fact that charting is not a strictly it's not a strict charting system anywhere, that some people's symbols different from others as a blessing because it encourages change and evolution, like J.C. Breyer's charts. So she talks about that. She talks about how to map out your charts. I'm not going to show you that because that would kind of, I think you should buy this booklet so you can see it for yourself. And by drawing lines on the charts and seeing how the pattern leads into other stitches, how one stitch leads into another or joins with another or separates from another. And then she also gives a whole bunch of steps or advice, if you will, about how to convert stitch patterns from flat to for flat knitting, from a stitch pattern for flat knitting to a stitch pattern for circular knitting, which was it was really good stuff. It wasn't like oh, I've read that in a magazine before. It's very, very helpful information. So I really loved it. And the most beneficial for me, because I am in the process of creating a lace shawl pattern, and I'm like very new at it, and I'm kind of just figuring it out as I go, was she put in this article, which is by J.C. Breyer, about sensible repeat lines. And I'm telling you, it's only one page. I don't want to show too much because I don't want you to read it, but you can see I circled it, and I'm like, it was just like a big aha moment for me. So it was like really amazing. And when I get home, I'm going to pull out I have her charted knitting book on how to read charts. I'm going to pull it out again, because it was like, in my pattern, you have to move a stitch marker, but she's saying here, you don't have to do that. You don't have to make the repeats a straight line. So excellent, excellent article. Okay, so here is the recipe. The next thing in this booklet is a wonderful interview with Meg Swanson, and here's kind of like the cover page. And it was very, very interesting. It was not all centered around her mother, which is nice and refreshing. Donna interviews Meg Swanson about how she began lace knitting, what she found the most valuable resources, how she came into publishing, and how she got these particular lace knitting books published through her publishing company. They talk about the book by Susanna Lewis called Knitting Lace, a workshop with patterns and projects, which I have at home. And she talked about another one, which she said was one of the most profound. I'm trying to find it here. I didn't highlight it. Let's see here. Where is it? Well, there's her own book, A Gathering of Lace. I'll find it. It was by Barbara somebody. And it was a book I hadn't heard of, so. But I really found this article really refreshing. It wasn't the same stuff regurgitated again. And the last couple of questions I'm going to read to you, Donna is saying, the pie shawl on page 24 is inspired, of course, by your mother's work. However, I didn't take your mom's advice and stop at 576 stitches. And now I am trying to finish a border worked on over 1,000 stitches. And Meg's reply is, onward, dear Donna. And I just thought that was priceless. So then we have a nice article by Ava Coleman about a woman named Anna Marie Jensen, The Lady and Her Laces. And here's the picture. So this woman, she tells the story about this woman, and one of the things that stuck out to me about this woman's story is that even then, she talks about how she didn't always have the time she wanted for knitting, and how we all feel this. I see it all over the Ravelry and Instagram, and all the knitters say, oh, I wish if I didn't have to work, I would have so much more knitting time, and we all want that, and so did she. And eventually she got to a place where she had a nice balance. She was a nurse, and she did, they go into her life's work, and she also did a lot of knitting. And in visiting her family in Denmark, she actually was asked by the Queen of Denmark to publish her patterns for these doilies that she created and named after the nurses she worked with. So here's a couple of them, and all the patterns are in here. I think I counted 6, but I could be wrong. 1, 2, here's another one. This is the one that the Queen asked her to publish. And of course, they've updated the charts for you. So you can see like the original instructions are all typed out. And then here, Ava has recharted it for you. This one's gorgeous, Rona Doilys. So these are all named after fellow nurses. Oh, and here's the same thing as a shawl. So it's a shawl version and a doily version. Catherine, and that must be Catherine in the picture. Isn't that like really cool to see the picture of the woman that inspired this pattern? I think that's like really awesome. I so appreciate the work that would have gone into gathering all this information, and I don't think many of us realize that you don't just go online and Google a few things and get this kind of information. A lot of work went into these articles. A lot of work, a lot of research, probably some travel. Here's another one, Patricia. I like this one a lot. And I really appreciate that very much. And I think that information gathered in these is priceless. So I plan on getting all 4. There's another little milk jug. This was originally knitted on, oh my God. Well, this pattern is also for quadruple 0 needles, or 1.25 millimeters. That's freaking tiny. All right. The final section, and I love, and if you have the book by Susanna Lewis, it's based on this sampler, which was in a Brooklyn museum, and she basically deciphered all the stitch patterns by examining the sampler section by section, a labor of love. So now, that's not all this article is about. There's also information on how to read your knitting, a lot of good information and reasons why you should knit your own samplers. So another good, not just informative, but helpful information in that article. And then finally they end with an article about and I don't know if I'm pronouncing the family name correctly, the Quinnic Family, a family business success story. And it's a story about a man who had lost his job and kind of got into the business of embroidery floss because his wife wanted high quality floss, and it became a family business, and they did very well, and his sons ended up taking it over. Here's another picture of the family. But you know, reading things like these stories and about how people like you and me with these passions, you know, made a life around it is very inspiring for me. And again, and I also said, I love all the information they're giving us, the helpful information, the beautiful reading. I got, I was really, really impressed. So I highly recommend Stories and Stitches. They're on book 2. Pre-orders, I don't know if they're still up. And I'm not sure if it was only during pre-orders, but I believe you get a digital copy with the physical copy. And it's very well made, so they'll last a long time. I highly recommend, so definitely check it out. And that's it for today, and I'm going to say goodbye from Hancock, New York, and again, sorry about all the noise, but you can't tell people not to live, right? So let me leave you with, we're going to give you a view of the river from here. Hold on. I'm going to turn this around. This is my parents' backyard. That's the East Branch of the Delaware River down there. They live right along the water. It's just so peaceful and lovely up here, and I love coming up here as much as possible. And with that, I'll say goodbye. We're talking about iPhones. What's the other side? That yellow house there, that's my mom's.